Yeah.
We sure do. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Jane. This is Career Lab Wednesday. We are here every Wednesday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, to help you bring out your best in yourself by way of what you're doing in the world through your career, through what you're doing at work. So great to have folks joining in. Welcome, Katie. Welcome, Rihanna. And, as we're having folks join in, I'd like to introduce Dr. Gordon Medlock, who's on faculty at our graduate university and brings a great deal of expertise to today's time, with a great deal of experience in helping people in their careers, not just, get the right job, but use your career to flourish. So Dr. Medlock, I'd love for you to share a little bit with us about that as we are getting rolling here.
I would be happy to. Thank you, George Donald. Our topic today is about confidence and resilience. Welcome all. Good to see Robin back, and Larissa, good to see you, and Katie. It's a really important topic, and particularly in the field of career development. A lot of the research, a famous psychologist named Dr. Maddie, whom we've worked with at Wright, is very much aligned with the kind of work we do. And he talks about how people deal with stress, and that the factor that there are certain people who actually break down, have medical conditions, have difficulties and challenges, are not able to cope. The stress becomes overwhelming. And others seem to be able to handle the stress and move forward and to actually change and develop in ways that they hadn't expected. And he did a massive research study back in the 1980s to see what was the difference between those two groups of people. And he found that the people that had these qualities of resilience, which he talks about, you mentioned confidence today as our theme, his were commitment, control, and challenge. The people who have a strong sense of commitment in their life, they have a sense of ability to control their situation, to have an internal sense of confidence that they can have an influence, and are willing to see and meet challenges as opposed to flee from them, but actually embrace challenges. People who have those attitudes were the ones who actually were able to thrive and grow and develop through periods of stress, as opposed to those who weren't. So we're really looking at, and our job here is to support you in being able to build your resilience, because job searches are no fun. They're challenging, they're lonely, people are isolated. In fact, our whole career lab is to give you a sense of a community that you can connect to, which can help build your resilience. And when you're sitting at home with your own thoughts of why didn't somebody call back, and you start cycling into those negative thoughts, that's when you need other people's input to help you see the possibilities. So our job here today is to support you in seeing the challenge and facing the challenges that you're facing, and to help build your resilience to build a successful career. So George Donald, I think that kind of sort of tees up the discussion, and why don't we see where our participants are today, who would like to jump on that?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Medlock. And great to see you, Rihanna. Great to see everybody joining in here. I want to say that you are welcome to join in on the Zoom link for those of you watching in on LinkedIn. Jane will make sure that you're able to get in here to speak directly with us. That's the best way. We love it when you come on video, Rihanna. Great to have you on video. If you're in a spot where you're not able to, we get it. That's fine. You're able to come off mute. We can work with you directly. And if you can't jump on the Zoom, then type your questions into the comment section. Jane will get those over to us. We'll do our best job to answer those during the show. And if not, then we'll circle back throughout the week and get to those. So with all of that said, and other thing is, again, we have a topic here, but our job is to serve you. So any questions that you have, whether you're in the middle of your career, at the end of your career, at the start of it, how can we support you today?
Well, and our theme, for those of you who just joined in a little bit late, is the theme of building confidence and resilience to deal with the challenges of your career. So this is really our purpose here in supporting you, is to help you build those capacities. And we understand that the process is often very challenging and difficult, and it really helps to have a group of allies that can support you in that process. So we're here to provide that support for you, and want to welcome the opportunity to jump in.
Yes, please do jump in. And I want to actually build on that, Dr. Medlock. In talking with somebody who works with us in marketing, I so want an app that can help people with this stuff. And she was saying, yeah, that's great. But she's like, you know what you are really good at? What Wright Foundation is so good at is the group learning. Yeah. And setting up a space where people are able to take risks and also co-voyage or learn vicariously with other people. So I want to set that too, is as you're listening in and as people are sharing, is that your job is to relate to people. Your job is to even if somebody's sharing about a challenge in the middle of their career and you're at the beginning, is to relate to that person and see how you can learn and grow with them in the process. Welcome, everybody. Joe, good to have you back. Rihanna.
I have a question. My biggest kind of question is kind of looking forward into, I'm in the early childhood field, is how do I go about understanding my skill set and how to transfer that into a possible new field? Like walking away from early childhood education, what skills can I take and what field would that be most my skill set evolve into? And so that's kind of really my biggest question, is understanding my skill set and transferring it elsewhere.
I'll tell you, Rihanna, I would love to jump on that one, GD, because
absolutely.
I have a colleague who is absolutely the best trainer and leader that I know. Her name happens to be Lisa Sandin.
I was just thinking of her.
And she is an awesome Montessori teacher. And we talk about what we do is Montessori for adults. In other words, what makes her so good is she's worked with 3-year-olds, because in the workplace, mostly you're dealing with the unexpressed 3-year-olds that are running around doing whatever they're doing and don't know they're acting out their 3-year-olds. So actually, it gives you a huge skill set to know how people operate. In fact, I have another colleague a good friend, who was one of the not the CEO, but I think the second in command at the telephone company in Canada. And when they asked her what was responsible for her skill as a leader, she said, being a mother. That's what made me good, because I knew how to deal with kids, and I knew how to get them, I knew how to tend to them, I knew how to care about them, I knew how to help them grow and learn. So you have a deep knowledge base and skill base in facilitating the learning, growth, and development of human beings. And actually, people make a separation between childhood and adult learning. And in our model, it's not separate, because kids are the best yearning-based learners that there are.
Yeah.
So you get to learn, you've got the skill set. It's a matter for you to start translating that for yourself, and also put yourself in situations where you're now taking those skills into facilitating adult growth and learning. At Wright, you can do it by volunteering in our training programs as a volunteer. You can begin to build all of our. The cool thing about it, the training that we do in the support of volunteers that we do, is it's a training institute that we do. So people get the benefit of translating those skills, and we're literally focusing on what we're talking about. So have you done any work at Wright or any training or stuff?
Yes.
Perfect. So you know what I'm talking about. So tell me, I've just thrown a lot out at you. So let me just hear your response, okay?
Yeah, no, it does make a lot of sense. And that's, I've heard that, before that, working with kids, you do get that sense of learning how to break things down, how to communicate with them on different levels, because, the children come in and it's communicating with the parents as well. Everyone comes from a different background, and it's assessing where their knowledge base is at and getting them from A to B, or, all the way to M. And it's just kind of keep scaffolding on everything. So it's just kind of understanding how it does translate to something else, and what that would be, where the interest is.
So tell me, where are you in this process right now? What are you actually doing to kind of bridge these two
I
worlds?
showed up here today.
A newbie at the starting
Yeah.
line. Okay.
Yeah, it's something, George and I have talked a couple times. It's something that's always kind of been in the back of my mind because, with early childhood comes, it's a great field. I love it. It's just not necessarily financially sustainable for everything. It's just, the money's not there for everything. And it's just kind of understanding that, and that also moving on, not that I love the job, but it's also what more can I do for myself at this time? Learning to be a little selfish and grow too. So there's many things out there. I need to start searching that, and it's kind of like, where do I start? And I'm here today. So
Super. Do you know Lisa Sandin, by the way?
I do not.
Well, I think George now, but we could talk to Lisa. I know she's on vacation this week, but we could talk to her about an introduction here. I think would be really helpful because Lisa has done this journey, and she's actually now a consultant with schools, where she's turned her. The cool thing about what she's done is when you're doing a career transition, you want to move into more adult training and learning and development sorts of things. I'm guessing, is that the sort of area you're interested in?
It could be that, and that's part of what I'm trying to explore is if it's, leaving all of this field behind, or if it's progressing further into the childhood, but if it's moving up the ladder, or if it is completely into another spectrum or life that I haven't completely filtered all that out yet.
Yeah. So the key thing, perfect. And so you're really in an exploratory phase, and that's a chance for you to be, you're going to begin a process where you're going to be doing and exploring all kinds of different opportunities. So, that's cool. But one of the things that's important is when you're trying to do a transition to a new area, there are two things two variables you're managing. One is the industry you're in. Right now you're in education. And the other thing is the role you're in. You're in a skilled training or teaching role, and you know how to teach, and you have a lot of teaching skills.
Yeah.
It's very hard to shift your role and your industry at the same time. You can do it, but you'll start at the entry level at lower income. So the best way to do it is if you wanted to move to a different industry, but leverage your teaching skills.
Yes.
That puts you in a consulting role or something like that, maybe in a training role.
Okay.
Or you stay in education and modify your role, which is what Lisa was doing, and became a consultant for schools on how to build schools that really have growth-oriented cultures. And actually where you get a chance to address all the frustrations that as a teacher you've had to deal with. So you know what it's like there. So she's kept the same industry and is shifting her role. So, but don't try to shift them both.
That's the biggest thing.
Is
understanding that and trying to make a positive growth for myself and not have to start all over again in another area, but figuring all that out. So that's really good.
Yeah, good. So I would say start talking to people who have done that, Lisa being a good start. And I'm sure there are many teachers that you could talk to about it. My guess is there are teacher association groups that also talk about career development. And where do you go with that? And how you're not the only person who's felt this way.
Right.
Sadly, education, which is probably the most important function besides possibly parenting, neither of which we support as a culture. But they're tough. They're very tough professions. They're not rewarded financially, and it is many people end up at your place. So, but thank you for joining us, and we welcome the opportunity to support you in this journey. It's a very exciting one. I'm glad to see you in it. Yeah, education is close to my heart, so I'm glad to see a fellow educator in here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I want to underline something here. In this process, Rihanna, and for anybody in this kind of process in looking at a transition, for you to get to know your value and to talk to people, I am in this process a lot as I haven't known all the gifts that I bring to things. And I just kind of do stuff. And then people may or may not tell me what a gift I am. So I'm not even aware of it. And And so for you to kind of know that about yourself as you're stepping into this and be, be a hunter for what your gifts are.
Mhm.
And so that you get a sense of your value, because even if you don't go over do something else and you're staying there, but just to know, you know what, because as I'm talking to you, we've had one session together and I got to know you over the More Life training weekend
Right.
a couple weekends ago. And I'm like, I would hire you. I don't even know what for, but just you as a person, I'm like, you are so hireable. so
I'll go with
this,
that.
yes. And so to know that and to be with that as you're looking at things, and then to get a sense of what is really exciting to you. You know what's needed. You have a great deal of experience, and what would just, have you be excited to get up in the morning, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I want to put that out there. That's what we do. That's people who are working with Right Foundation and folks who join in on this career lab have said, I am going into my next job with more excitement than I've ever had about starting a new job before. So that's the vision that we're setting up here for you to be living into.
Cool.
Thank you so much. And now,
if I could add something, Don.
Yeah, I see
George.
Joe there. I was a little.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, tell us about
Hey,
how
how are
you're doing.
you? I would just say in my experience, going off what Rihanna is saying, is because of the training that I've had, the education courses, being humble is a high priority for me. So I undersell myself, and I have other people tell me, oh, but you're like George was just saying, you have all these qualities and capabilities, but that I don't realize because of my humbleness. I don't look at myself that way. So when I talk to people that try to, I guess, do an interview, on certain interviews that I've done, I've undersold myself and said, hey, I don't realize all the qualities that I have and can bring. And that's extremely important in what's going on. I will tell you, to update you on the chief job, I took the written test, waiting for the results. They're going to narrow the field down from there and then start an assessment phase. So that's still on, but I got hired by my university, not only as an adjunct, my alumni university, but also as a senior director for military affairs. And so those are things I'm doing now on top of while I'm waiting through this process.
Cool.
Oh, good to hear.
Yeah. And that's
Oh.
great to have a forward move. You want to have a sense of a forward movement process in your search and what you're doing. And so you just have a narrative, a story about where you're headed. And Joe, I think you do it beautifully. I think you model it well. And we're excited to hear how it keeps going, the journey. And the problem is when you're working at a senior level position, these things don't just happen overnight. They take months to get. So I can appreciate that. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it'll be 1 year to the day, I think, by the time they select from when we submitted the initial application.
Wow.
Which
there you
is,
go.
yeah. The people
Oh.
are complaining though, because the chief, the police department needs direction. And I have an interim who can't make long-term decisions because they're only interim and they're afraid to. They can, they just refuse to. And they're not. That's just,
Yeah.
it
that's
is what it is. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the check-in, Joe. It's good to see. I just saw something in the chat about Robin's got something to share here. So let's hear from her too. Okay.
Okay, so speaking of the gift that you are, George Donald, I started watching these career labs just because I love your energy, and I was like, oh, it's a career lab, let me check it out. I had no intention of looking for a new job. I wasn't even thinking about my career, and I started listening to all the things and the stuff, and I was like, man, this is so cool, and I got all excited, and I sent you my antiquated resume, and you guys fixed it up and gave me tools and fixed up my LinkedIn. And last week, I accepted a job offer for over $15,000 more than what I'm making a year now.
Way to go.
And the really super cool thing is I jumped on the Zoom for the interview, and the first thing the lady said to me was, I am so excited to be interviewing you. Look at all that you've done here on your resume.
Wow. What a way to start.
So I just want you to know that, and I won't go through the whole story, but I ended up getting that interview using the tools that you gave us, like check with your network and, make sure you're updating your resume and all those things. But it was just really cool. And here I am. I have a new job. Woo!
Wow. Tell us a little bit about it. What is it that you're going to be doing? I'm curious.
So I'm currently a trademark legal assistant, and I reached out to someone in my network who does docketing, and I'm going to be on a team that is a client-facing trademark docketing team.
Mhm.
So I'll be helping to manage a trademark portfolio for some huge client that they have. And this is like a big law firm. They have like 20 offices all over the country. It's really, really cool. I'm so excited.
Cool. And that's a great story. And notice the skill set that Robin had developed, she was able to leverage. That ability to have a track record of something you really do well, that suddenly it matches up with something that somebody really needs, and bingo, you're it. So
Yes.
way to go. Way to identify your gifts and realize it's not just the skill set of how to deliver those particular things, but the ability to communicate all that, to be part of a team that people say, I want to work with her. She's going to be fun to have on our team. So
Yes. Well, and it's all because I started watching this. So,
great.
it's such valuable information that you're putting out there. And I just want to say thank you. And you're not done with me, because I'm going to continue to watch every week.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So I think we also have a great promotional piece there, George Donald. We have to talk to Robin about if we can use parts of that for.
Yes.
This is why you ought to be in Career Lab, because it's,
You can use it all.
oh, you're a sweetie. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Yes, and to that end, please do share this. Please do share this. This is on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a little clunky for looking back at the old videos. So we started putting them on YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel where you can go back, you can look at the resume ones where we go deep in depth with Brenda Bernstein on resume and LinkedIn. That's all available. We do our best job at naming things, and Jane is available to help you as well, direct you to where to find things. So we've got that available.
Cool.
Now, I see that we have Khalid on here, and I'm wondering if you have an update for us on your assignment.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I have some updates. No conclusion yet, but it's still a work in progress. It's only been a week.
Yeah.
I did have an interview, and was turned down for that offer. Still trying to understand why. But I'm reaching out to the recruiter to get that.
Catch us all up. Give us some context.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. So basically, I'm at this point in my career where I have a position that I really love. I think it gives me the breadth of what I've been wanting to do for some time. At the same time, looking at what's out there in the market, I see similar opportunities, and with some shifts that are going on internally within the company, I'm unsure about where things are going to land, and so the question is, at this point in my career, do I stay open to what's out there in the market and trying to go for a good compensation and the position that I'm looking for, or do I kind of sit out and wait to see where things land over here, knowing that it's not quite what the market is offering right now. But I love what I'm doing, love the people that I'm working with, so it's like, two really good options that I have available.
So are you dealing with a reorg? Is that what's going on there, or what's actually are you facing at your current place?
Yeah, so there's a reorg, new leadership, a need to just revamp some of our core infrastructure, and the team that I was brought into was really supposed to be geared towards doing that kind of work, but they've basically reprioritized that effort to be at a company level rather than just at my team level. And so that reorg and the prioritization has been happening without me being included in that conversation, even though that's my job description.
Wow, okay.
And so, there's a lot of hurt and sadness and like I feel unseen. It's like, well, this is what I thought I was being brought in for, and
I mean, to help make this transition, you're here to help people actually do what it is they're doing. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So have you talked to your boss about that?
I have. So
What does she or he say?
Was a little bit surprised, actually, which was really odd. Because I remember the first conversation I had with my manager, even before when I was interviewing, when I thought that this was the vision going forward. So I'm a little bit surprised. He was kind of caught off a little bit, and I think he had me kind of, siloed in a certain place, whereas my interest lied in the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So it's there's just a little bit of like a misalignment between our visions, and
It's
trying to
really-
work through that.
Really a good move to, do both and really build a rapport and relationship internally about, hey, this is really my area of specialty, letting them know you're one of the people they're going to want to keep. At the same time, looking at other opportunities so that your own value it's just a smart move at this point because there's so much uncertainty.
Mhm.
And the very fact that your manager wasn't even sure that was a surprise, it tells you something about the communication in the company right now. So
Yeah.
And I think it's a good time to be reaching out, looking at other alternatives as well as internally. So thanks for sharing that. And sounds like this is after only 1 week, right? You're already, so the boat is moving. I mean, you're on the escalator, you're moving, right? So it's going to go one way or the other. So
Yeah. So I'm trying to look, at positions externally, but I'm also looking internally to see what other. So I'm doing
Yeah.
some informational interviews internally to
Good,
see what's
good.
there. And I guess right now I'm kind of like an information gathering kind of a phase, not
Perfect.
not making a decision yet, but seeing what the opportunities are.
That's essential. It's getting the data. We talk about that as a critical thinking skill, the ability to be grounded in the data of what's going on. So knowing what's going on in your company is really important to what's real, what's current, what's the vision for where they're going, and same with the market. So just getting yourself informed right now makes a whole lot of sense. Sounds like you're being very savvy about it. So appreciate you sharing that. It's good
Yeah,
good
well,
model for how we all need to look at our careers from time to time.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your support.
Sure. I want to hear more. So tell us how it goes, okay?
Thank you, Khalid.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know if there's any more support that you want in between now and next time.
Yeah.
All right, will do.
Now, Dr. Larissa Chuprina, I would
Yes,
like to hear from you.
thank you. The previous conversation was very helpful, and I was inspired to offer a training for one nonprofit organization that's legal help for low-income families and immigrants. And they want about training about resilience, because they feel that they're themselves overwhelmed.
Yes.
And need to do something to boost the spirit of the company. For 2 years, they have not even been meeting. Everything was online, and they were disconnected and were not seen or heard or valued. So, being inspired how to present the value, I think it was, negotiations were on Zoom, also not in person. What I understood, it's also finance. They are waiting for some, they are applying for grants. so this not issue, the way how to present value without touching money issue first,
Yeah, yeah, good.
right?
Now,
Because the same with when applying for a job, right? We don't speak about salary until they see your
Yeah.
other value.
good point.
But this is also very tricky. If they say at the very beginning, we have a cap, right? Or we don't have funds now. What should I do? Just say, okay, I will do it for free, and then just to have good recommendations, or what? I don't know.
Well, we have a theory about that. This is,
Yes.
but first of all, let me understand. So you are currently not employed, is that correct?
I am self-employed, and I'm very excited what I'm doing, but
Okay.
it does not bring what
Enough
is
money.
needed.
So you are providing support as a consultant for nonprofits to help them build their
Yes,
resilience in a way and capability.
yes.
Yes, okay. I just wanted to clarify that. So, yeah, one of the things that we approach this interview process is about, it's about being a net giver. You know, you're looking at, here you're talking to a company, they say, we've got a salary cap and, you know, this is all we can do. So thank you for letting me know but let me hear a little bit more about what you're doing. And let me just explore that a little bit with you. Maybe there's some ways I can be supportive of you as well. So you then, we had one person who's our doctor, who's on our
Siddiqui.
what's Siddiqui?
Dr.
Yeah.
Siddiqui.
Yeah, Dr. Siddiqui is all about being a net giver. He was like the senior level person, and he would just say, well, how can I help you? All right, what can I do for you? And so they kept finding positions for him. So look at how you can contribute. Use it as a networking opportunity. You know, thank you. It's great to know who you are. I appreciate that. Do you happen to know anybody else who I might be able to talk to, given that you know, that here's what I'm looking for. It doesn't look like I'm a perfect fit here, but is there anyone else you might suggest? Fine, but you're out there giving and contributing to them in the interview, and that's going to come across, and you're going to be remembered, and they will look to you to support you when they can. So just hold that context, as we recommend that.
Thank you. It's in the long run, in the long perspective, it's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
But how do I approach this immediate meeting
Well,
when they say, we will come back to you because we don't have funds right now?
at that point, that's just you just put that in your you know, spreadsheet. Okay, no opportunity there right now. Thank you very much. You move on. You don't sort of hang out in somebody who's saying, you know, we can't really provide anything for you right now, but you can offer in that interview a chance to contribute to them. And then you move on to the next piece. So you don't want to put a lot of energy into something that's not going to go anywhere right now.
Okay.
Yes, so I'll walk you through a little bit of Dr. Shahid Siddiqui's process. So he joined in the first career lab that he joined in, and he said, you know, there's a company that I'm talking to. I know I can help them a ton, but they don't have very much to pay me. But it's not that hard for me. I mean, that's kind of what we got to. And so what he ended up doing was basically saying, like, look, you know, here's the ways I know I can help, and great, I'll kind of do this, you know, I'll get paid this. It's not really, you know, what I could get paid, but I care about this company. I want to have you do well. So he's doing that. And then that opens up many more opportunities for him, because now they're like, oh, wow, yeah, this is really helpful. So he starts getting more introductions out of that, because he had moved. And so there was sort of, he's trying to establish himself in a new space. And so over the course of, I don't know, Dr. Medlock, what was it, like 2 or 3 months, maybe? Now he's got the job that he wanted, but it took him several months of actually helping people, volunteering some time in different places for him to build up to where he got the job, the position at the salary that he wanted.
Now,
So
did he do that all within one organization, or did he move from organization to organization as he was doing that? Do you recall?
I believe organization to organization. It wasn't all in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great story, and that's a great message. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's you kind of have to know yourself too. You don't want to take on a project that's going to take 80% of your time, and you're not going to be going after what you want. So it's a
Right.
matter of, one of the things he said is, this is something I can do that I'd enjoy, and it's not a lot for me to have to do that right now. And so if you can make some easy wins for another company that you're working with,
Mhm.
go for it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and it takes away time where I could learn some new skills and apply for the organization. That it's a good fit, but they ask for some more computer skills that I am still learning.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. And you're a trainer and developer. You help people build resilience. Is that part of what you do?
It is part of what I do.
Oh, good.
But I am an educator, and I have taught in my life maybe 100 different subjects and topics.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're attracting teachers, George Donald. That's a good sign. I like that. It's a
Yes.
great skill set. Do you know Dr. Maddie's work, by the way? Is that familiar to you? Maddie, Dr. Maddie? I'll put it in the chat. He's the one who's written the books on resilience. So you might want to just have him.
All right, very good. Thank you.
I'll just put in Dr.
Mhm.
So I'm seeing, Khalid, you've got a question. And wondering, is there anybody, Katie or Tiffany, who would like to jump in and get some coaching before perhaps moving back to Khalid? Well, in this environment, we say jump in, be selfish, go for getting your needs met. So Katie and Tiffany, I'll be assuming that you're in a spot right now where you're not able to jump in. Okay, Katie, thank you. Khalid, are you available to work a little bit with your question?
Yeah, I have a little bit of time. Yeah, I appreciate you
Okay.
taking the time.
So how long have you been working on this in terms of how you present yourself?
Oh, it's been many years. For as long as I can remember. I think I've gotten the feedback that my communication hasn't been direct or not delivered confidently, and always kind of at a loss for what to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there have been some things that I've tried, but
What have you tried?
like for example, when it comes to presentations, practicing bullet pointing, like the main take-home message, not putting too many things into one slide, you know, things like that. Just being more, even though there might be many things that I want to talk about it, but just kind of limiting it to just a few.
Mm-hmm.
And just tips like that I've gotten from people.
So how has bottom lining helped?
Bottom lining has helped, I think, by giving people something, an anchor to hold on to and take away. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
So right now, as you're sharing about this, can you describe what's going on inside of you? What are you feeling?
Feeling fear, feeling some hurt, a little bit anger. I think as I'm talking right now, it's like, what am I saying? What am I saying? What am I saying? Like, I'm not even clear about what I want to deliver right now, let alone have an audience listening to me.
Totally. So, and there's that sense of kind of that fear of dropping, or I often think of like, I'm kind of falling and I don't know where I'm going to land.
Yeah.
So is this kind of what goes on when you're presenting and in meetings?
Very much so.
Uh-huh.
it's that I want to say something, I don't want to get it wrong. At the same time, I want to hide, and
Uh-huh.
So
It-
I want to underline, first of all, George Donald, first of all, that your presence to what's going on is great. The fact that you're in tune with what's happening with you. It sounds like what your skill set is, that without that, you can't make any changes. So the fact that you're present is great. Now we can talk about, okay, so now how do I sort? What's the agenda? What's my intention in even speaking right now? What is it that I want to accomplish? Like right now, I'm clear, I want to contribute to you in some way. So that's driving what I say. Whatever my fear might be, that intention is overriding it. And there's a yearning to support you that's operating for me right now. So it's connecting to those intentions and yearnings internally that give me an orientation point to deal with the fear. Without that, the fear gets bigger. So it's a way, so it's learning how to build strategies for how to be with all those feelings and then do the sort to accomplish what it is you want to achieve in each interaction while still being present to you and to who you're talking to. So you can see what's landing and what's not.
mm-hmm.
See? So my sense about you is you have a nice emotional availability. You're easy to communicate with. I don't feel like I'm talking and I'm wondering what's going on with Khalid. I feel, is it Khalid or Khalid? I'm not sure.
Khalid.
Khalid,
I'm just
okay.
solid.
Yeah, so I have a sense of your presence and which is lovely. And I think, but it sounds like you're shy and a little bit afraid and you kind of you're not trusting that natural sort of connectedness that you communicate. So it's a skill to practice and build. And have you done any work with us at Right at this point?
Yes.
I have.
Good.
I've been
What-
coached by George for some time.
Excellent. Are you doing any of the group stuff as well or not? Have you done any of that?
I haven't been connected as much recently.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing is, it's like playing tennis or any sport. You just got to get out on the court and practice. So it's useful to have those other venues for practicing to build the skills because you have the capacity. I can sense it. You should interview very well. So
Totally. Khalid, what are you hearing?
Honestly, I'm still in the fear right now. So I am I'm getting some affirmation that I'm kind of at like step one, and being available and having that awareness, and like I get this idea of practicing, but I'm not sure in what direction.
And Dr. Medlock's affirmation to you, so it's like you're cognitively getting it. Is it landing anywhere in your feelings? Are you feeling any joy from his affirmation?
Not really. I still feel the fear and the anger, like it's like a frustration.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've gotten that feedback. I still don't know what to do with it.
Cool. So then what's going on with the anger? You named it. Is that affirming?
Yeah. It's the anger is providing some clarity right now. And it's just like, I want to know the direction. And whatever it is, I'll follow through.
cool. So what is your anger telling you is the direction? Your anger is letting you know. What is it you're moving toward with your anger?
The anger is telling me to be direct and say, hey, what is one thing that I can do? Like,
Perfect. Yes.
So now the bind of this with coaching is that if I tell you what to do, the chances of you doing it drop dramatically. Because for whatever reasons, just we're not good at taking advice. So given where we're at right now around where you've brought us so far, what's one thing you can do that is going to have you harness your anger, use your anger that you've identified in the direction of being more satisfied?
I think one thing I can do is do a little bit more pre-planning before my meetings to know what I want out of it, and to project that directly. I think sometimes I have a tendency historically wish for something to come out of it rather than actually asking for it. I think I could be more direct and say, hey, here's I think what we need. Let me hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Nice job of coaching right there. Did you also notice that you just did it right now with us?
Yeah, I felt it.
Good. Yeah, you said, I'll tell you what I want. I want some direction on what I can do. What's one thing I can do? And George Donald said, guess what? I have ideas, but I think you also know, and I want to draw on your capacity to come up with that. And then you came up with it. Very good idea. Plan ahead of time. What's your intention? What do you want to go for? And then be able to make those requests. Nice job.
I felt that challenge, and I felt like, okay, let me kind of go from here to here, and just put something forward.
Yeah.
First thing that comes to me, just put that forward. Just do it.
I think it's a great idea, and I would do that for all of your networking meetings. To do some prep before that.
And for context, so what happens with when we're developing as human beings? So part of what we do with Right Foundation, all of our stuff, is that you can picture us sort of like we're to reference back to developing as children. Development does not stop at adulthood. So we continue developing as adults, and there's areas of ourselves that didn't develop as children. And so we can be, Khaled, I know you, like you're a super bright guy, you're smart. Like I'm intimidated working with you in terms of what your brain power can do. Okay? So that's a wonderful, you've got that gift set, but then there's also the internal emotional development stuff, which you just made progress with. You used your anger. So you're building that in. It's like, Legos or something. Like you're literally, there's a zone that hasn't connected yet, and you just made a connection. And now you're going to need to make that connection again and again and again and again, which is, so, Dr. Medlock saying, take that into all of your meetings, because by doing that, then it'll become a habit that will become part of your personality. Now Khaled has more confidence, but there's no magical way to just say, oh, now I have confidence. Mm-hmm. And the bind that happens often with guys, research, whatever, there's all kinds of ways of showing it, but sometimes I will just make a mistake and say, well, I'm just going to be confident. and I might break my fucking foot because I'm not really paying attention to what's actually happening here and now with people. And I'm just like, I'm just going to go for it. But it doesn't necessarily help me. And so, there's a fair amount of research that oftentimes guys will do things that are not really the best fit, and that women will hold back and doubt themselves because they're really paying attention to a lot of the data that's around there. And Khaled, I think you and I are kind of more in the category of holding back and assessing data and kind of looking at things. So it's identifying where is the risk that's going to serve me, which I think you just did, and then continuing to develop that. And now you're developing yourself in a way that, and it wasn't modeled for you in whatever family system you grew up in. I'm relating a ton, by the way. So thank you for you going in the journey, and I'm joining in with you.
One thing, if I might add, is I think this element of taking a risk is a huge one for me when I walk into meetings. If I know that I'm going to be making an ask that has some risk involved in it, I'm much more attuned, much more on my side, it's like an anchor point in that meeting. It's like,
oh, cool.
We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this.
Good.
And
there you
I love
go.
that you brought that up.
That's your edge. Great. Well, thank you for all of this. Great demo and great work on that. I want, before we end up, I want to just touch base with Tiffany if she's there. I know she's one of our WGU students, and I'm always curious to hear how our students are doing with their career development. So Tiffany, you want to jump in for a moment and let us know how you're doing?
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Thank you for seeing me and acknowledging me. Oh, yes, I had put in the chat too that the other week we were talking about how, well, I asked the question whether ways that I could present myself better to show value at work. And you had mentioned about data and just like I said, I'm still working on getting the data, but just trying to find ways that I can communicate better with my supervisor. And we did have our appraisal and discussion, and I did bring up a follow-up discussion using some of my social emotional skills and just acknowledging where she may be coming from as well with her frustration with me, and acknowledging my frustration, not knowing certain things, and that how more communication can be a way to address some of these issues moving forward. So I appreciate what I've been learning here.
Cool.
and applying that in the job that I am currently in.
Cool. And how did she, was it she or he? Is your boss?
She.
How did she respond to your comments?
Yes, I don't know exactly. She's kind of like a little reserved, but she did say that she appreciated me mentioning that, especially when I acknowledged her part as being, not knowing what I'm doing and the frustration she might be feeling. So I think that was a little turnaround. So it wasn't like, I think she was kind of like expecting me to like be blaming or something like, oh, you're not doing this, but I was opening it up more from like both sides. Like I haven't been communicating with her, and I would like more communication from her. And so more win-win, mutual, how we can move forward.
So, and she seemed to take that in, is that correct? That she appreciated
It's kind of hard to tell, but we'll see.
So what makes her hard to read?
Oh, yes, you're right. She does. I mean, I can see a lot of fear in her. Maybe she's not used to having those conversations with it. She's a regulator, and more about the outcomes and do this. That's why it was hard for me to read her or know what she expects, because I haven't got much from her as far as.
So what's your personality type? Which one are you? Cooperator?
That's my secondary, but analyzer.
Analyzer, cooperator. Well, I'm a cooperator analyzer, depending on how much fear I have. The more fearful I am, the more analyzer I become. So I can relate it. And regulators are my challenge too. They don't give you those cues. The problem, the danger for us in those roles is taking on it means there's something wrong with us if you're not getting the response, as opposed to, oh, that's just her style. I need to make sure that when I'm communicating with her about how I want to be more in communication, to talk about the result I want to see happen from that. I want to see us be able to hit these numbers more effectively on each week. And I think the more we can be communicating on projects, the more solid we'll feel about results. To go, yeah. You got to talk her language.
Yes, that's why it's kind of difficult. That why, like I said, it's hard for me to get the data as far as.
Well, the data with regulators is they want to get it done. They want to get a result.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that interested in how you feel, frankly.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So,
I got you. Yeah, I wanted to go into a narrative like, oh, I'm going through all this process. I'm taking this time. I'm doing this effort. But it's just that my outcome is not showing all the things I'm doing.
That's what you talk to your friends about. You tell your friends all that stuff. You get ready for me with your manager. It's like results. We're gonna focus on that. So.
Totally.
It's more of a shift for me too.
Yeah, it's the versatility. That's the cool thing about the care profile, of how to move between these different roles. And the ones that are the biggest challenge for you are good things. So George Donald, you got something going with that?
Yes, this is so somebody in our group in the Year of More last night just made a huge move in this with a regulator boss of theirs, because she actually submitted her resignation. And she's like the 5th person, and her boss says, "What is going on?" And she says, "Okay, well, I am so unappreciated here, and
Mhm.
everyone is feeling so hurt. And her boss is like, oh my gosh, nobody's told me this. This is like, this has never occurred to me before in my life. And so she literally said, this student says, okay, what I need from you is I need affirmation that that I'm doing my job well. And I need to hear that in meetings, and a minimum of 3 times a week. And the regulator boss says, oh my God, thank you so much. And so in the next meeting the next day says, and great job at doing this, this, and this. Real bottom line, didn't take a whole lot of time. And then was like, how did I do?
I love that. Thanks for sharing
So-
that.
That's
So I don't know
awesome.
what your relationship is like or whatever, but to consider that as a possibility in training a regulator in how to communicate with cooperators effectively, efficiently, doesn't have to take a whole lot of time.
That's great.
Sure, thank you.
Great
Yes.
example.
Yes, that was a great example.
Thank you for bringing that one in too, Tiffany. That's great.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. So we're wrapping.
yeah.
Dr. Larissa, do you have one more question that we can get in here? You're on mute.
Yes. Do you have 1 minute for my question about communication styles?
Go for it.
Let's see if we can get it in.
Put it in my chat, but I can verbalize it. When Khalid said, I tried direct communication, and how much direct, and how it can be adjusted to the situation.
Okay, so
I lived in Tennessee. It's different how people communicate in the Northwest.
yes,
It's really
yes, it is.
circumlocution, like
Yeah.
Asian culture.
Uh-huh.
So quick answer here is what you want to do is be open about it and be asking and be vulnerable and leading and saying, here's where I'm from. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Are we on the same page? And just be very open about it, and they'll train you in how much is working and what isn't working and what does work.
During the interview, how can you be trained?
During an interview, you can be saying things like, and let's pick up on this one next time,
Okay.
because people will relate a lot to this and it'll serve a lot of people. But
All right.
just to be thinking about between now and next week,
Mhm.
in an interview,
Yes.
they're going to ask you a question. You're going to respond with something bottom lined.
Mhm.
And then you want to follow up with a question and say, did I answer that in a way that did that help?
Mhm.
What else is there that you need to know from me?
Mhm.
My understanding of this position I'm applying for is this, and this is how I would fit in. Are we on the same page?
Mhm.
So you're continuing to find out more about that position. You've already done your research, so you're asking intelligent questions about that. And then you're asking, I want to make sure that the questions I'm asking
Yes.
are relevant here.
Yes,
Are we
I
on the same
understand.
page?
Yeah. Yes. All right.
that-
And
does
we
that
can,
help?
yes, it helps. Yes. And maybe later we can go into more details when you are already hired and to give a feedback. If it
Mhm.
is too direct, it can be hurt, right? Or I don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
Then,
Yep.
I think the example that George Donald shared today for the woman at YOM was really extraordinary to be that
Mhm.
direct. But notice she was already saying, I'm giving my resignation. So she was
Yes.
like, there was no risk. I mean, she was at a point where she said, I'm done here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And the real game would be for her to have those conversations sooner and say, hey, I'm unhappy with this in ways that are in rapport so that it doesn't have to be this big
Mhm.
thing. So that's the game. But this is a skill you're talking about developing, and it will take practice and stuff. So we'll pick it up.
Okay.
I got a session coming in.
yes.
Dr. Medlock, thank you so much. It is lovely having you
Everybody,
here.
good to
Thank
see
you.
you all. Okay.
Thank you,
Next week.
everybody, for your shares. This serves so many people, and glad that you are here. I'm going to put a plug for next Thursday. I am leading a talk that will help you get more out of your interaction. So we're going to go deep dive. It's a 2-hour thing. At the end of it, we'll have a conversation about our graduate university.
Good.
So we'll be sharing that link, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks all. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. Good job.